Shalom, shalom, family. It's the Hebrew Life again, Shad Bey Jerusalem, and I'm back with another lesson. This one is going to be called, Why Was Abraham Chosen, by God? That's supposed to say by. Let me edit that. Fam, and we're going to get into it. Got to be right. It got to be right. So there you go. Why was Abraham chosen by God? Excuse me. And today we're going to get into, on this Shabbat, on why Abraham was chosen by God. Abraham is the progenitor and the forefather of the Israelites. He's the father of Isaac. He's the grandfather of Jacob, whose name was also changed to Israel. So today we're gonna get into what made Abraham so special to the point where God wanted to choose him. What made Abraham so special to where God said, you know what, this is the guy I'm going to build my nation with. To me, this is a major thing because you got get this camera right. You got 70 nations in the Bible, and you out of all those nations, God chose this man. See, this is the first time God did this. He did this with Noah before, where he found a man who was righteous and he chose him. He did it with Job. He did it with all the prophets like Moses. He looks for these special individuals and he bestows himself and his ways upon them because he know only these special individuals can carry the weight and carry the laws of the heavens. Abraham was a very special individual. We're going to get into it today. We go to my notes. We're going to start at Genesis 12, I believe. Or Genesis 11. Let's go to Genesis 11 to see what's in there first. Like I said to y'all, Shabbat Shalom, family. Shabbat Shalom. On this Shabbat, we finna get into it. So, Abraham was told to leave his home country. If you read, I believe it's the book of Joshua, Abraham was going against his father because his father and the rest of the Ur Chaldees of Mesopotamia believed in multiple gods. They believed in this polytheist of multiple gods providing the things they had. Now Abraham knew this was wrong because he knew that this was something they did before the flood. And he knew they were carrying on the ways that got the world flooded the first time. So he questioned his father about the gods. He set food in front of the gods. And the gods didn't react. They didn't do anything. So Abraham had destroyed all of the little gods and left the big God in there. And when his father came in, he said, what have you done? And Abraham said, well, I haven't done anything. You know, the big gods did it. He said, I was handing out the big guys some food and all the other little guys reached out for the food at the same time. And this big guy chopped all of them up. But that's beyond the fact. Let's start this in the scriptures, in the book of Genesis on who Abraham is. Because, like I said, in the book of Joshua, we read that he was thrown in the fire. So before Abraham ever came in the land of Canaan, he already had a history and a name in the land. I'm just putting that out there. Okay, so let's start at verse 11. And we're going to start at... verse 11 to 27. It says, now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abram. Abram's name was changed to Abraham. He begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abraham, Nahor, Terah, and Haran begat Lot. So this is where Lot come from. Lot is a nephew of Abraham. It says, and Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity in the Ur of Chaldees. So Abraham comes from the Ur of Chaldees. Let me see if I can share this camera. See what I can do. No, I can't share the camera right now, family. But I'm trying to learn how to work this while I can share the camera. When I get my laptop back going, it's going to be on the cracking. So it says, and Abram and Nahor took them wives. And the name of Abram's wife was Sarai. And the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah. And the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Ishkah. But Sarai was barren and had no children. And Sarai took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran his son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, and his sons Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from the Ur of Chaldees into the land of Canaan, and there came unto Haran and dwelt there. And in the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. And the Lord has said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country, from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, and into a land I will show unto thee. I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and I will make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. This is verse 12 of Genesis. And I will bless them that bless thee, and I will curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all of their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran, and they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And into the land of Canaan they came. And Abram passed into the land unto the place of Shechem, and the plain of Morah, and the Canaanite, and the Canaanite was then in the land. And the Lord appeared unto Abram, and he said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. And there was built an altar unto the Lord who appeared unto him. And he removed from this unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west and Hai on the east. And there he built the altar unto the Lord, and called upon the name of the Lord. And Abraham journeyed, still going towards the south, and there was a famine in the land. And Abram went down to Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous on the land. I'm gonna stop right there. Let me check the comments. Stop right there. Nothing in the comments yet. Abram began to speak to the Lord. It's like when he built this altar, and he like I said, I already spoke earlier what he did in the Ur of Chaldees, and why him and his father and his brothers had to leave. Abraham began to serve the Most High. He began to build altars to the Most High. The Most High was with them. He promised them his seed would have this land. So this whole time, Abraham had to have one key thing, and that key thing is faith. If Abraham never had faith, he wouldn't have had the heart to get up and go into a country that wasn't his, and to a place he had never been before. But he had faith, and I'm going to prove that's what Abraham's main tool was. He had faith to believe in Yah, even when it didn't make sense. Like when he told him to take your son down for a sacrifice. Abraham had faith that God was going to provide him a sacrifice, and that he wouldn't have him kill his only son that he had waited 90 years to get. But he had faith that, hey, I'm going to take him down here. If the Lord tell me to do it, I'm going to do it, because I have faith he can give me another son, or I have faith he can bring my son back to life. When you're dealing with the Most High, the power is unlimited. So there's no reason to question the Most High. So we're going to prove that this main component that made God choose Abraham was actually not just because he was from the Ur of Chaldees, or because he was a Shemitic, or any of that. Because he was a Hebrew. No, he chose him because of his faith. He chose him because of his faith, family. let's go to Romans 4:16. Let's see what it says in Romans 4:16, fam. Take a second. Y'all get to Romans 4:16. And I'm going to start. I'm going to start at verse 13, actually, fam. If you just tuning in, this lesson is called Why Was Abraham Chosen by God to be the progenitor of the Hebrews and the 12 tribes of Israel and the progenitor of Jesus Christ himself? Yahushua HaMashiach was from this lineage. King David, King Saul, King Solomon, all of these people, these great people in Israel who had reigned over Israel, they came from the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So what I'm going into today is what made Abraham so special that God chose him to be a representation and a representative and an ambassador to his truth. So we in Romans 4, and we're going to start at verse 13. And I'm going to read. It says, for the promise that he should be heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith. For if they which are of the law be heirs, faith is made void, and the promise is made of none effect. It says, because the law worketh wrath, for where no law is, there is no transgression. Therefore, it is of faith that it might be by grace to the end, the promise might be sure to all the seed, not to that only which is of the law, but to that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all. As it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations, before him whom he believed, even God, who quickened the dead and called those things which be not as though they were. So like I said earlier, faith was the main key factor. It wasn't us, and it wasn't our bloodline, and it wasn't the law. Because the law work of wrath if it's not practiced properly. But it was the faith Abraham had. It was the faith the Most High had. When he told Abraham, you should be a father of many nations. Everything the Most High promised Abraham, he gave him. And Abraham had to have faith to receive. We're gonna go to let's continue to read. This is verse 18 of Romans 4. It says, who against hope believed in hope, that he might become the father of many nations? Abraham did. According to that which was spoken, so shall thy seed be. And being not weak in faith. Being not weak in faith, fam. Being not weak in faith, he considered not his own body now dead, when he was about 100 years old, neither yet the deadness of Sarah's womb. He staggered not at the promise of God through unbelief, but was strong in faith, giving glory to God, and being fully persuaded that he had promised and was able to also perform. And therefore it was imputed to him for righteousness. Now it was not written for his sake alone, but it was imputed to him, but for also us, also, to whom it shall be imputed if we believe on him that raised up Yahushua HaMashiach, our Lord, from the dead. So I'm going to stop right there. The fact that Abraham believed, turn this phone around. The fact that Abraham believed in the Most High's power, that the Most High could do anything he set out to do with his power, it caused Abraham to have a faith that was unwavering, a faith that cannot be swayed. Even though Abraham was 100-some years old and Sarah was 90-some, Abraham still had faith in the Lord that his children would be given to him that the Lord promised him. And that's what faith is. Faith is believing in the unseen. It's believing in things before they ever come to you. And it's believing in the power that's going to provide those things. If you don't have faith in God, how can you have this unwavering faith like Abraham, like Jacob? When times is hard and it don't look like things are gonna fall through for you, you still have this unwavering faith that you know the power of the Most High can do all things. Even knowing if he don't do it, it ain't meant to be. But whatever you should ask in his name, he's gonna do, whether good or bad for you, you ask for it. He's gonna give it to you. Now he'll make sure you don't get burnt in the fire of your asking too much. He'll pull you out the fire before you completely burnt. But he's gonna let you experience the things you ask for in life. He's also going to let you experience the things that he's going to give you, because he's the all-seeing and he knows what's good. He knew that Abraham was a righteous man, just like Noah was, just like Job was. He knew Abraham was a righteous man, and he had a very special surprise behind him being a righteous man and a loyal man and a man who truly believed in him. Before he gave this man Abraham all of these blessings to be the father of all these nations, he had to test his friend. The Bible said, try a friend. He had to see if Abraham was the guy he wanted to bestow all these blessings upon. Was Abraham the seed he wanted to bestow and make the 12 tribes of Israel out of? A man that's 90 years old, 100 years old, still believing God is going to give him a child. A man that left his own country, his own state, to go to a country of people he don't even really know, to prepare to live in, because God said he was going to give him that land. Faith is believing in something that's not there. Whether it come in your generation or it come in your children's generation, the Most High's words ain't going to fall on the ground. They're going to always be. All right, we back. We back. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We back though. Like I said, Shabbat Shalom. I don't know what happened. I got a few calls, and yeah, got a few calls, and then it went all wacky. Let me see. I'm gonna copy this link. And, I'm gonna copy this link. I'm gonna put it in the chat, man. I'm gonna put it in the chat. They let me. Okay, there go everybody. I'm looking where's everybody at. Shalom, sister. They not let me they're not let me add anything into the comment board. I'm trying to set it up so y'all can come in the room so I can finish this lesson. Okay, there go everybody. Yeah, shout out to Artface H. Shalom. Shout out to D. Judah. Shalom. App acting crazy, man. I can't even comment on her. I'm trying to get y'all on here if y'all want to come on. Okay, there you go. Okay, there go the StreamYard chat, y'all. And Shabbat Shalom. Y'all forgive me for the technical difficulties. I'm gonna continue to get down on this lesson. All right. Got a call. I don't know what happened. Let me see something. Nope. I don't know. Don't know what happened. Anyway, let's go to Joshua 24:2. Let's go to Joshua 24:2. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. If y'all just tuning in after the technical difficulties we just had, the lesson is called "Why Was Abraham Chosen by God to be the progenitor of the 12 tribes?" What made him so special? And that's what we're going over today. The special uniqueness, the unique characters that Abraham possessed to make God say, you know what? I'm going to choose that guy right there. I'm going to choose that guy right there. So we in Joshua. And Joshua 24:2 actually. Go ahead and fire off in a minute. Okay. This is Joshua 24. I'm going to start at verse 24. It says, and Joshua gathered all the tribes of Israel to Shechem and called for the elders of Israel and for their heads and for their judges and for their officers. And they presented themselves before the Lord. And Joshua said to all the people, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, your fathers dwelt on the other side of the flood in old times. Even Terah, the father of Abraham and the father of Nachor, they served other gods. And I took your father Abraham from the other side of the flood and led him through all the land of Canaan and multiplied his seed and gave him Isaac. And I gave unto Isaac Jacob and Esau. And I gave Esau Mount Seir to possess it. But Jacob and his children went down into Egypt. And I sent Moses and also Aaron. And I plagued Egypt, according to which I did among them. Afterwards, I brought you out. And I brought out your fathers out of Egypt. And ye came into the sea. And the Egyptians pursued after your fathers with chariots and horsemen unto the Red Sea. And when they cried unto the Lord, he put darkness between the Egyptians and brought the sea upon them to cover them. Hallelujah. It says, and your eyes have seen what I have done in Egypt, and you dwell in the wilderness a long season. And I brought you into the land of the Amorites to dwell on the other side of the Jordan, and they fought with you. And I gave them into your hand, that you might possess their land. And I destroyed them from before you. Then Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab, arose and warred against Israel, and sent and called Balaam, the son of Beor, to curse you. But I will not hearken unto Balaam, therefore he blessed you still. So I delivered you out of his hand. It's a lot of saving, man. If y'all, I'm gonna stop right there. I'm gonna keep going. But now, how much the Lord got to do for us before we realize he got our backs? The Lord then brought us from the bottom to the top out of Egypt, gave us our own country, made our enemies our footstools. Hallelujah to the Lord. All praises to him on this Shabbat for his great and glorious power and his loyalty towards Israel when Israel wasn't even loyal to him. When Israel wasn't even loyal to him, the Lord was loyal to us because of our forefather Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Even to this day, we are not loyal to the Lord, but he still has us in his eyesight. We are still the apple of his eye. Not because of the works I do today or the works we do in these days and times, but because of past times with Abraham. He made a vow to Abraham. Let me check him. So let's continue to read. It says, and you went over the Jordan and came unto Jericho, and the men of Jericho fought against you, and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Gergesites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, and I delivered them into your hand. And I sent the hornet before you, which graved them out before you, even the two kings of the Amorites, but not with sword, nor with thy bow. And I have given you a land for which ye did not labor, and cities which ye built not, and you dwell in them. And of the vineyards and olive yards which ye planted not, do you eat. Now therefore fear the Lord, and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye the Lord. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwelt. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Hallelujah. All praises, man. That was a powerful speech by Joshua. We just gave y'all the whole rundown on how Joshua even got where he's standing at, how Israel got in the land of Israel. All of the miracles the Lord provided for us because this promise he made to Abraham. This great seed that was supposed to come out of Abraham, called the Israelites. Ain't it amazing? Ain't it amazing what the Lord has prepared for us as his chosen people? All of the pain and everything we go through in this country and around the world, being discriminated against, being stereotyped, it wasn't all for nothing. You know what I'm saying? It was done to show the power of the Most High. And when we turned our backs on the Lord turned his back on us. Look at everything he did for us. It ain't no different than you having a child and you get that child everything. It ain't no more you can get a child. You feel like at some point you hurting the child because you done gave him so much. If you give him anything more, it will be hurting him. God did that for us. He spoiled us. He gave us plants and vineyards and buildings that we didn't even build with our own hands. We walked right into our land. The land was already set and built for us. And we still wanted to follow other nations. So this is how we get away from our blessings with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob through the 12 tribes of Israel. This is how we got in the situation we're in America and all over the four corners of the earth. It's the disobeying of the Most High. It's the continuing the same things we did before the flood. Y'all hold fast. I'll be right back. Baby girl sleep, so we trying to get the lesson off today. We trying to get the shout out to D. Judah, man. Let's go on to the next verse. Come on, baby. All right, y'all hold fast. She's up. All right. I know, man. All right, family. Fatherhood calls, but we gonna finish this lesson. Say what's up, y'all. Say what's up, y'all. Say what's up, Shalom. Shalom. All right, family. Let's continue on with this lesson. Like I said, if you just turning in, this lesson is called Why Was Abraham Chosen by God? If you want to support the channel, man, back on my Cash App, PayPal. If you want to donate so the channel can get bigger and better. Okay, we're going to go to Deuteronomy 7:7. We're going to go to Deuteronomy 7:7. All right, let's go to Deuteronomy 7:7, family. Deuteronomy 7:7. And I'm going to wait so everybody can get there. Because this is real important. Because we need to understand why the Lord chose us. If you ask the Israelite, why are we Israelites and why did God choose us out of everybody? They couldn't tell you. If you ask them why God chose the Israelites out of all people on the face of the earth to represent his people, they couldn't tell you. A lot of black people think we ruling in numbers. We are the fewest of all people. We're not ruling in numbers. We're going to find out why the Lord chose us. Is it because of the deeds we do for him? Or is it because of the deeds that was already done for him by our forefather Abraham? Yeah, baby. Yeah, girl. Hold on, y'all. You ruining my lesson. Can't be doing that. Can't be ruining my lesson now. Here, you can play with this book. Play with that one. There you go. You can hold the book too, baby. All right, Deuteronomy 7:7. It says, we're going to start at verse 6. Deuteronomy 7:6. It says, for thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you are more in number than any people, for you are the fewest of all people, but because the Lord loves you, and because he will keep the oath which he has sworn unto your fathers, have the Lord brought you out with the mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondage from the hand of the Pharaoh king of Egypt. Know therefore that the Lord thy God, he is God, the faithful God, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him, and keepeth commandments to the thousands of generations, and repayeth them that hate him to their face, to destroy them. He will not be slack to him that hateth him. Thou shalt therefore keep the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which I command thee this day to do them. Wherefore it shall come to pass, if you hearken to do these judgments and to keep them, the Lord thy God shall keep unto thee the covenant and the mercy which he sware unto thy fathers. Who are thy fathers? Thy fathers is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is what this lesson is about. Why was Abraham chosen by God? Because of his faith. Something we lack, something Christ said we lacked when he was on earth. Oh, faithless generation. Generation of vipers. We lack faith, family. That's the killer of man. If you talk to an atheist, something he's lacking is faith, the actual ability to believe, which is a skill. Having faith is a major skill. It's not something that anybody can possess. It's something that's inside here. It's something that's inside your soul that make you hold on and believe in something when it seems like all hope is lost. Let me see, baby. We go to Acts 7:3. Let's go to Isaiah 41:8, family. We're not done. We just getting started. Let's go to Isaiah 41:8. Isaiah 41:8. Thank y'all for supporting the channel, though, man. Isaiah 41:8. God called Abraham his friend. That's very rare in the Bible that God calls someone his friend. When Yah calls somebody their friend, his friend, he also told us in the Apocrypha, to try a friend. So the fact that God said Abraham was his friend, we know that God has tried Abraham to be a well sought out friend. And he knows that he's official like the ref whistle. It ain't no question on whether Abraham is a true friend of God or not. Let's read. It says in verse 8, but thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, and the seed of Abraham, my friend. The seed of Abraham, my friend. Thou, whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called thee from the chief men thereof, and said. What have he said? And I'll get these pages unstuck. And have said unto thee, thou art my servant, I have chosen thee, and not cast thee away. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God, and I will strengthen thee. Yeah, I will help thee. Yeah, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my rightness. Behold, all they that were incensed against thee shall be ashamed and confounded. They shall be as nothing, and they that strive with thee shall perish. shall perish. They that strive with thee shall perish. So and we not worried about nobody coming up against the seed of Abraham. You people out there, y'all can hate all y'all want. Israelites is waking up to their true identity of being Israelites, of being children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And now the news is trying to spin us in the wrong light. The news is trying to spin us in the wrong light these days. Mama, you ain't be playing with this milk. Be good, baby. So as y'all see in Isaiah 41:8, it says that Abraham is my friend. He told us why he was his friend. He told us what he told Abraham, and Abraham believed it. And just like Abraham had to believe it, we had to believe it. Come on. Come on now. You can't have the Bible, man. You're not tearing this. So let's go to some other verses, family. This ain't over with. We're going to go to Genesis 17. Let's see what Genesis 17 say, family. Let's read about this covenant he had with Abraham. Genesis 17, we're going to start at the top of the verse. It says, when Abram was 90 years old and 99 years old, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be thou perfect, and I will make my covenant between me and thee, and I will multiply thee exceedingly. He said, be ye perfect, be thou perfect in the Lord, and I will make my covenant between me and thee, and I will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. And this is after Abraham buried Ishmael. Because if you look at verse 16 of chapter 17, it says, Hagar bare Abram a son, and Abram called his son's name, which Hagar bare, Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old. He was 96 years old. He was 86 years old. So, because one score is 20. So, okay. It says, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. I will make thee exceedingly fruitful, and make nations of thee. Kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee in their generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. And I will give unto thee, and to thy seed after thee, the land wherein thou art a stranger, and all the land of Canaan for an everlasting possession. And I will be their God. And God said to Abraham, thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, and thou and thy seed after thee, and their generation. This is my covenant, which ye shall keep between me and you, and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised. You shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant between me and you. And he that is 8 years old shall be circumcised among you. 8 days old. 8 days old. So there go the covenant right there, family. Before there was an Israel, there was an Abraham and an Abram. And God seen a perfect, righteous man who is willing to take on the covenant to have his seed be an everlasting child to God, an everlasting. He was in his covenant forever. Like he said, I established my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee and their generations for an everlasting covenant. He will be our God and we will be his servants. We will do the work of the Most High through servitude in him. This was an everlasting covenant. So whether you want to be an Israelite or not, whether you believe it or not, this covenant was given to Abraham, and Abraham down the line had Isaac, and Isaac had Jacob. Then the Lord came and spoke to Jacob. And the Lord told Jacob, your name should be Jacob no more, it should be Israel. See, our God don't change. Just like he changed Abram name to Abraham, he changed Sarai name to Sarah, because she will be a mother of many nations, and Abraham will be a father of many nations. Israel will be a father of many sons too, many tribes of the same nation. It's like when he changed their name, it has something to do with multiplying. It has something to do with growing as a nation of people. When he changed us, I changed our name. Ain't no ripping this, baby. Ain't no ripping this, baby. You can stop it. You can stop it. Girl. Man, I appreciate everybody in the room, man, supporting this, man. I hope y'all get some edification in this lesson today about who Abraham is and why God chose him, and how that leads up to us, the Israelites, us keeping the same covenant that was given to Abraham. It wasn't called the covenant of the Israelites. It was called the covenant of Abraham. God continued to make covenants with us, but we weren't able to keep. We are rebellious people. We ain't able to keep certain things. Okay. Let's go to Galatians 3:29, family. We almost done, but we have more to go. Let's go to Galatians 3:29. You trying to read with me, baby? Hold the page right there. You can't be on it. You're too rough on the pages, baby. You can't rough like that on the pages. What's the problem now? What's the problem now? Hey, girl. Okay. Galatians 3:29. Hey. Galatians 3:29. It says, if ye be Christ's, then ye... Baby, you trying to run the lesson? Somebody sleep. It says, if ye be Christ's, then ye are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. Now I say that the heirs, as long as he is a child, different nothing from a servant, though he be Lord of all, is under tutors and governors until the time appointed of the Father. Y'all miss it? Hold up, y'all. What's the problem? What's the problem, baby? Yeah. There you go. All right. No, you didn't want to show out in front of YouTube like this. All right, y'all. As y'all see, my baby want me to end this. Baby, I got a couple more verses to do. Yeah, I got a couple more verses to do. Let's go to Acts 7, family. And we're going to end it off with this. Acts 7. And let's read. Acts 7, verse 2. We're going to start at the top of the verse. It says, Then said the high priest, Are these things so? And he said, Men, brethren, and fathers, hearken. The God of glory appeared unto our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia before he dwelt in Charan. It says, and said unto him, Get thee out of thy country, from thy kindred, and come into a land which I shall show thee. And then he came out of the land of the Chaldeans and dwelt in Charan, and there from thence, when his father was dead, he removed him into this land wherein ye now dwell. And he gave him none inheritance in it. No, not so much as to set his foot on it. Yet he promised that he would give it to him for a possession, and to his seed after him, when as yet he had no child. God spake on this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land, and they should bring them into bondage and entreat them with evil 400 years. And the nation to whom they shall be bondage will I judge, saith God. After that shall they come forth and serve me in this place. And he gave him the covenant of circumcision. So Abraham begat Isaac and circumcised him the 8th day. And Isaac begat Jacob, and Jacob begot the 12 patriarchs. And the patriarchs moved in envy and sold Joseph into Egypt. But God was with him and delivered him out of all his afflictions and gave him favor and wisdom in the sight of the Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And he made him governor over Egypt and all his house. Now there came a dearth over all the land of Egypt and Canaan, a great affliction, and our fathers found no substance. But when Jacob heard that there was corn in Egypt, he sent out our fathers first. And at the second time, Joseph made known to his brethren, and Joseph's kindred was made known to Pharaoh. Then Joseph called his father Jacob to him, and all his kindred, 50 souls. That's 60, what is that? 75 souls. It says in Jacob, and 15 souls. It says, So Jacob went down into Egypt and died, he and our fathers. And we were carried over into Shechem and laid in a sepulchre that Abraham bought for some money. It says, But when the time of the promise drew near, which God had sworn to Abraham, the people grew and multiplied in Egypt, till another king arose who knew not Joseph. The same dealt subtly with our kindred, evil, and treated our fathers so that they could cast out young children to the end that they might not live. In which time Moses was born, and was exceedingly fair, nourished up in his father's house for 3 months. And when he was cast out of Pharaoh's daughters, took him up and nourished him for her own son. And Moses was learned in all of the wisdom of the Egyptians, and was mighty in the words and the deeds. And when he was full 40 years old, it came into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel. I'm going to stop right there. If you read in Acts 7, it tells you the whole timeline of how this covenant went. From Abraham all the way down to Moses, all the way down to Christ, all the way down to today, when we still live in the last days, awaiting the coming of the Messiah and the King. We got to hold strong, family. We got to endure to the end. This covenant that God has given us with our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, is not an easy covenant to take when you're worried about the world. It's his burden is light once you separate yourself from the world. And once you make yourself available to receive the blessings and the covenant he has bestowed upon us, the burden is light after that. Because you're not worried about what the world says. You know that God chose you not because you were more in number, not because your skin was black, or any of these things. It was only because of his covenant with Abraham. That Abraham was his friend. That God was loyal enough. Because men are not loyal. Human beings are not loyal. We have the ability to cross each other. We have the ability to say something and not carry through on it. But God, his words won't fall. Everything that he said, the covenant he said he would make with Abraham, the children he said he would give them, the blessings he said he would give his children, the land that he said he would possess. Before Abraham ever had it, Abraham believed it, and all of it came to be so. Whether Abraham seen it all manifest? No, he didn't. But his children knew that the blessings that their grandfather had spoke of had came to be true in their lifetime. Abraham didn't walk in the land of Israel, but his grandchildren did. So when God promises us things and gives us blessings in life, we can't be selfish about it. We have to walk the walk. You don't know I don't know if my blessings are for me or they for this young girl right here that I got on my lap, who's my child. But I'm willing to be loyal to God to my dying day. Because I know the Lord is going to be honest and real in his words. Whether I receive it, or whether she receives it, or whether her children receive it, and my sons receive it, the promise is coming. So I'm going to get up out of there, fam. I'm going to check the comments, and we're going to get up out of here. Let's see what everybody talking about. Hey. Come on now. What you want? Here, you want the book here? You can have the book, but don't tear it. This is my daughter, Kira Sarai. Say hey, y'all. Say hey, beautiful daughter. She was born May 4th. After her brothers passed, twin brothers, and the Lord has blessed me again, family. The Lord gonna come through on all his words. We have to have faith that we're gonna receive blessings in life, or we'll never receive them. Or when we receive them, we won't even know we received them. So hold strong. This is why the scriptures say, endure to the end. And the race isn't given to the swift, but those that endure. Those that are willing to endure will reap the benefits of the Most High's covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Those that are willing to endure will see Christ when the day comes. But we must endure. We can't get weary because we don't see the Lord, because the Lord ain't giving us what we asked for, what he said he was going to give us through the Spirit. We must be loyal and faithful. Like our Father, long-suffering, patient. and you know, the blessings will come, family. So I'm Base Jerusalem. It's the Hebrew Life, family. Shalom. So I'll see y'all again. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye.